Students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing good. So in today's video, we will continue the chapter and we will study with the new concept fertilization and implantation. So we studied spermatogenesis as well as oogenesis. So for spermatogenesis as well as oogenesis are nothing but the process of gametogenesis, right? So gametes, after the formation of gametes, so gametes are formed when the reproductive phase is reached, right? When the woman, when she reaches the reproductive phase, then she starts producing the ovum, and when the male, when he reaches the reproductive phase or puberty, so he will start producing the sperms, right? So fertilization is nothing but the fusion of male and female gametes, that is the fusion of egg and sperm, right? So during copulation or mating, the semen is released by the penis into the vagina. It is called as insemination. Okay, so you have already learned the parts of the male as well as female reproductive system, right? So you should know. And then, so what is the direction of the egg or the sperm will travel, right? The fusion of sperms with the ovum is called as fertilization. It occurs in the ampullary region of fallopian tubule. So where is the ampullary region of the fallopian tubule? So you have seen where it is, ampulla. So it reaches the ampullary region of the fallopian tubule. Okay, so how the sperm it will travel? Sperm will first come to vagina, cervical canal, uterus, isthmus, and then it will reaches to ampullary region. Okay, and how the egg will travel? So egg from the ovary, it will get to the fimbriae, which were like finger like projections, and then to infundibulum, and then to ampulla. So here you can see, so the sperm travels this way and to reach the ampullary region here, but egg travels this way. Here you can see it clearly. So sperm first travels the vagina, cervix, and then isthmus, and then it reaches the ampulla. So this direction the sperm travels, whereas egg, which is released in the ovary, will just travel to the infundibulum, and then it will reach the ampullary region. So it occurs ampullary region of the fallopian tubule. So this diagram we will study later. Okay, so fertilization happens only if the ovum or sperm are transported simultaneously. So both the sperm as well as ovum should transport simultaneously. So that is the reason. So if the whatever ovulation that we have studied, and while teaching ovulation I said that only after the release of the ovum, that only after the release of the ovulation, only for 24 hours. So it may last for 2 days, that's it. So 24 hours only the ovum will be there. Okay, so within 24 hours what should happen? If the egg has traveled to that place, okay, and the same day the sperm has to travel and fertilize the egg, or else the fertilization does not occur and egg will get shed off. Okay, so that is the reason all the copulations, that means all the mating period, will not lead to the fertilization and pregnancy. Okay, so both the sperm as well as ovum, they should transport simultaneously at the same time. Okay, so a sperm contacts with the zona pellucida. It induces changes in the membrane that block the entry of the additional sperms. Okay, so what happens? The sperm, it contacts the zona pellucida. So where is zona pellucida? You can see here egg zona pellucida region. The sperm contacts the zona pellucida region. It induces the changes in the membrane that block the entry of the additional sperm. So the millions of sperms are released where only one sperm will get the chance to fertilize the egg. So other sperms which are behind, they will not be able to come and they will be blocked. Okay, it will induce the change in the membrane that will block the entry of the additional sperm. So the secretion of the acrosome help the sperm to enter the egg cytoplasm via zona pellucida and plasma membrane. This causes the second meiotic division of the secondary oocyte to form the ovum or ootid. So and second polar body. So while studying, I have already taught you that in the acrosomal region, so there will be Golgi complex which release lytic enzyme, right? So this lytic enzyme is nothing but helps in dissolving, okay, the membrane, okay, that will help the sperm to enter the zona pellucida and then to enter the egg cytoplasm, okay, and this causes and when the sperm enters the egg cytoplasm, and during the oogenesis, as I told you, that egg, so it will just by meiotic 1, the primary oocyte will become secondary oocyte, okay. Primary oocyte will undergo meiotic division, okay. I have already explained you. Primary oocyte, it will undergo meiotic division to produce first polar body and secondary oocyte will be produced. If this secondary oocyte, if it will undergo second meiotic division only after fertilization, right? So when fertilization is initiated, right? So meiotic 2 will take place, resulting in the secondary polar body, okay. So that you have to remember, very very important, okay. As I said, if you have to understand any concept, you should know oogenesis, a menstrual cycle, everything, all the concepts are important. So the secretion of acrosome help the sperm to enter the egg cytoplasm via zona pellucida and plasma membrane. This causes the secondary meiotic division of the secondary oocyte to form an ovum. So secondary oocyte that was formed, it will form the ootid, okay. So ootid or ovum and the second polar body, so which will undergo secondary oocyte, then it will undergo the second meiosis, right? So very very important. And the haploid nuclei of the sperm and ovum fuse together to form a diploid zygote. As I told, the sperm will also be haploid, the egg will also be haploid, then they will fuse together to form a diploid zygote, okay. Next, the zygote undergoes mitotic division, that is cleavage, starts as it moves through the isthmus towards the uterus and forms 2, 4, 8, 16 like that daughter cells called as blastomeres. That means these are the stages. First it will form 2-celled stage zygote, okay. So zygote will form 2-celled stage, then 4 and then 8 and then 16 and then we call it as blastocyst, it will form, and the embryo with 8 to 16 blastomeres is called as morula. So what we call it as morula. So 8 to 16 blastomeres wherever there will be there, no, so we call it as morula. So morula continues to divide and transforms as a blastocyst, okay. So 8 to 16 stage we call them as morula, and morula it continues to divide and transforms into the blastocyst. So we will just for your see here. So first the ovulation will occur. So ovary releases the ovum. So it will go and enter into the stomach region. See here. So when it enters, the same time the sperm has to enter, right? The sperm also has to travel this way, and then here you can see actually the fertilization takes place. So after fertilization is completed, okay, so then what happens? 2 cell stage is formed, 4 cell stage is formed, and 8 cell stage is formed. Okay, so then 8 to 16 stage we call it as morula, and this again and then blastocyst is formed, and late blastocyst will form. And then after, see, before fertilization the sperms will travel this way and egg will travel this way. So after fertilization, obviously they have to get implanted, so they will again travel to the way of where there will be uterine wall, okay, uterus. So in blastocyst, the blastomeres are arranged into the outer layer. We call it as trophoblast. See, you can see here. So outer layer we call it as trophoblast, and the trophoblast layer gives nourishment to the inner cell mass. So what does the trophoblast layer will do? It will give the nourishment to the inner mass, okay, and also get attached to the endometrium. And the inner cell mass gets differentiated into 3 germ layers, which is ectoderm, middle mesoderm, and endoderm. So the 3 layer structure, now we call it as gastrula. Okay, so you have to remember morula, it will give rise to blastocyst, okay, or blastula, and then it will give rise to gastrula. So when we call it as gastrula stage, when it will, the germ layers, 3 germ layers will get differentiated. So all the body parts, okay, remaining body parts, whatever will be there, they will develop in from these 3 germ layers only. So outer layer will form some other body parts, middle layer will form some other body parts, and then inner layer. So all the 3 layers will only form our all the organs and other body parts. Okay, so very important, this you have to remember. Okay, so blastocyst or blastomeres, they will start arranging into the an outer layer, we call it as trophoblast, and inner mass is arranged, okay, which is attached to the inner mass. So trophoblast layer, it will give the nourishment to the inner mass, and it gets attached to the endometrium. So what is the importance of the trophoblast? Gives nourishment to the inner mass and gets attached to the endometrium wall, as I told, so that your uterus will get ready for the implantation. So then the inner mass, cell mass, it gets differentiated. Whatever the inner cell mass will be there, it gets differentiated into ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. So you can see here how the gastrula is formed: ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. Okay, and now after the attachment of the uterine wall, so when the trophoblast, it will get in the attachment of the uterine wall, as I said, the uterine cell divides rapidly and it covers the blastocyst. See, you can see here. So when it gets attached first, so it got attached first, right? So after getting attached, what the uterine wall is doing, so it is just covering the zygote, right? So it is covering it. Okay, so uterine wall rapidly covers the blastocyst. Okay, so it will cover the blastocyst. As a result, the blastocyst, how it is becoming, it is looking like it has embedded in the endometrium. This we call it as implantation. So yawaga blastocyst formation aitiga, blastocyst formation admele, so what happens, blastocyst ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತೆ, trophoblast layer in formation ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, so that trophoblast layer, that will help in attachment to the uterine wall or the the endometrium. So endometrium ಗೆ ಅದು attach ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ, so in this endometrium this will form the layer. Okay, as a result, blastocyst, it will become embedded in the endometrium. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, implantation ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Okay, so trophoblast ಹೆಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ, formed by the outer layers, we call it as trophoblast. So next, see, you can see here, if you get implanted blastocyst. So ಯಾವ ತರ ಬಂದು blastocyst ಇಂಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ 1 by 1 ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅದು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇಂಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಯುಟರೈನ್ ವಾಲ್ ಎಂಡೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಅದು ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗೈತಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ವಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೆಗ್ನೆನ್ಸಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯಾನಿಕ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಹೌ ದ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ವಿಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್, ಹೌ ದ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಕರ್, ಸೊ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನೋ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೆಗ್ನೆನ್ಸಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯಾನಿಕ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಗೇನಾಯ್ತು, ಎಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಎಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಂಪ್ಲಾಂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಇಂಪ್ಲಾಂಟೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ ದಿ cyst get embedded in the uterine wall, or you can say endometrium. Okay, so after that ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, after implantation finger like projections or the chronic villi ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವಿ, that appear on the trophoblast. trophoblast ಅಂದ್ರೇನ, they are the outer layer. so blastula ಈಗ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನಾಗೈತಿ, so here the gastrula is there. okay, so 3 layers ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಎಕ್ಟೋಡರ್ಮ್, ಎಂಡೋಡರ್ಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೀಸೋಡರ್ಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಔಟರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಟ್ರೊಫೋಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್, ಇನ್ನರ್ ಲೇಯರಿಗೆ ಅದೇನು ಕೊಡತೈತಿ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ನರಿಶ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ದ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಟು ದಿ ಎಂಡೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಮ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಎಂಡೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಮ್ ಲೇಯರ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತು, ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಂಡೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಮ್ ಲೇಯರ್, ಸೊ ಸೂನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕವರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟೋಸಿಸ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈಗ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ implantation. so after the implantation what happens, the finger like projections, so here you can see chronic villi, finger like projections ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತೀರಿ ನೀವು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. so finger like projections, they or we call it as chronic villi, appear on the trophoblast. so trophoblast layer ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇರ್ತೈತಲ್ಲ. so finger like projections appear on the trophoblast. see here, this is the trophoblast. this trophoblast, that is outer layer ಒಳಗ finger like projections ಈ ತರ branch ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ. so this is finger like projections, they will start appear on the trophoblast and they are surrounded by uterine tissue and maternal blood. so mother then blood vessels and uterine tissue ಅದರದೆಲ್ಲ surrounding ಆಗಿ it will get attached. okay, so and then what happens, the chronic villi and the uterine tissue are interdigitated. so interdigitated to form the placenta. so ಈಗ chronic ವಿಲಾ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಅದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯುಟ್ರೈನ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಎರಡೂ ಸೇರಿ. ಸೊ ಯುಟ್ರೈನ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಇರ್ತದ ಮುಂಚೆ, ಸೊ ಯುಟ್ರೈನ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ, ಕ್ರೋನಿಕ್ ವಿಲೈ ಏನು ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದೇವಲ್ಲ ಅದು, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯುಟ್ರೈನ್ ಇರೋವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಎರಡೂ ಸೇರಿ ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದಿ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫೀಟಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ನಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅದ, ಒಂದು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮದರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬೇಬಿಗೆ ಇರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ಮದರ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಬ್ಲಡ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಬೇಬಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೇನು ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮದರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೇಬಿಗೆ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಲೈ, ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ವಿಲೈ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ವಿಲೈ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಯುಟ್ರೈನ್ ವಾಲ್, ಯುಟ್ರೈನ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಹಾಗೂ ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ವಿಲೈ ಎರಡು ಸೇರಿ ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಈ ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾ ಅಂದ್ರೇನ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ the embryo as well as mother, okay, maternal body. placenta is connected to the embryo by an umbilical cord. so ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ ನಾವು, umbilical cord ಅಂತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾ ಅದೇನು ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಅಂಬಿಲಿಕಲ್ ಕಾರ್ಡಿಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ದ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಬೈ an umbilical cord. it transport the substances to the embryo also, and from the embryo ಏನೇನೀಗ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋಗೆ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್, ಓಕೆ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ವಾಪಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಇದು ಅಂಬಿಲಿಕಲ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಇನ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ದಿ substances as well as taking the unwanted substances from the embryo. So what are functions of placenta. Okay, so acts as a barrier between the fetus and mother. So it is a kind of barrier also. It supplies oxygen, nutrients, etc. from the mother to the fetus. Okay, so it supplies nutrients, oxygen to mother to the fetus, as well as remove carbon dioxide and excretory waste from the fetus. And it acts as endocrine gland. It secretes human chronic gonadotrophin, that is HCG, human placental lactogen, and estrogens, progesterone and relaxin hormone. Okay, so ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ? ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾ ವಿಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ಒಂದು ಸೈನ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಅದು. ಓಕೆ, ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್. ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ HCG ಏನದಲ್ಲ, ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್ gonadotrophin hormone, human placental hormone and relaxin. These three hormones are specially they are only released during the pregnancy. Okay, so this is very important and you should remember. So relaxin is also secreted by the ovary. Okay, see how the placenta is it is separating the mother from the fetus also, and it is also connecting the mother through to the fetus by the umbilical cord also. Okay, next, during pregnancy, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, etc. are also increased in the maternal blood. They support the fetal growth, metabolic changes in the mother, and maintain the pregnancy. For maintenance of pregnancy, so there are many hormonal changes, and hormonal composition will be very high in the mother's body. So the germ layers give rise to all the tissues, so organs. So as I said, ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm anta in germ layers formation agirtavalla gastrula stage olaga. So they will give rise to all the tissues. Enen tissues formation agbekalla ella tissues urgunu formation agtav. So the stem cells anta irtav in the inner cell mass have the potency to give rise to all the tissues and organs. So reason enandre there will be stem cells inside the body, okay, of the fetus. Okay, mass, that cell mass in formation in a fetus formation agiralla. So cell mass ಏನು ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ stem cells ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತಾವ. So stem cells ಅಂದ್ರೆ they can differentiate to form any kind of tissue or any kind of organ. Okay, so ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು stem cells ಇರ್ತೇವೆ. So that is the reason they have the potency to form any kind of organ or tissue. Okay, so human pregnancy, that is gestation period, lasts for 9 months. Okay, so gestation period ಅಂದ್ರೆ pregnancy period, it will last for 9 months. So for cats 2 months, dogs 2 months, elephants 21 months. So it depends on different types of organisms. Okay, so changes in the embryo during pregnancy. So what are the changes that takes place during pregnancy? Okay, what are the organs that will develop? So when complete embryo is developed, when complete baby is developed, that we will see. After 1 month, heart is formed, and end of the second month, limbs and digits are developed. And after end of the 12 weeks, that is first trimester, major organs like limbs, external genitalia, genital organs, etc. are developed. During the 5th month, the movement of the fetus and appearance of hair on the head, it will occur, and end of the 24 weeks, that is second trimester, body is covered with fine hair and eyelids separate and eyelashes are formed, and end of 9 months it is ready for the delivery. So very important. So anytime so how the baby will be there in what stage during the 5th month. So any kind of questions they may arise from this point of view. Okay, so another point I forgot here to tell you that, so sex determination in the baby, like whether how the boy or the girl baby is formed. So as I said, the meiotic division will take place, second meiosis in the ovum. So it will also produce information, as females are having XX chromosomes. Okay, ನಾನೇನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾಪಿ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಸೇಮ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ these are the one pair of chromosomes. We call it as sex chromosomes. So either ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ಓವಮ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಎರಡರೊಳಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇರತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಅದೇನಿರ್ಬೇಕು, ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ಫಿಮೇಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಮೇಲ್, ಸೊ ಮೇಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ವಾಟ್, ಮೇಲ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೈ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಇದ ಒಂದು ಪೇರ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ. ಸೊ ಹಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ಮೇಲ್ ಏನು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಈದರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಅರ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಆರ್ ವೈ ಅರ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೈ ಎರಡು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮೇಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಿರ್ತೈತಿ, ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ ವೈ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಅರ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ವೈ ಅರ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮಿಲಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾವೆ. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಒಳಗೆ 50% ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ 50% ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ವೈ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ವೈ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ and one. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಮಿಯೋಟಿಕ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಸೊ ಈದರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಮೇಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್, ಎಕ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಮೇಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇವು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್. ಇವು ಫಾರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್ ನಾವು ಓದುವಾಗ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಅರ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾವ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಅರ ಆಗಿರ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈಗ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಸೇರಿದರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗರ್ಲ್ ಬೇಬಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಒಂದು ವೈ, ಸೊ ಫಿಮೇಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು ವೈ, ಇದು ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಬಾಯ್ ಬೇಬಿ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ father or the male is responsible for determination of sex of the baby. So baby boy adano girl adano, that is determined by the male. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇಲ್ ಕಡೆನೇ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಮೇಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೈ. ಫಿಮೇಲ್ ಕಡೆ ಎರಡು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಅದಾವ, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಮೇಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇವೆರಡು ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇವೆರಡು ಎಕ್ಸ್, ಇದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಎಗ್, ಎರಡು ಸೇರಿದರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ದಿ ಗರ್ಲ್ ಬೇಬಿ, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಈ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಫಿಮೇಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೈ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮೇಲ್, ಇದನ್ನು ಕೂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ ವೈ, ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಲೀಡ್ ಟು ಬಾಯ್ ಬೇಬಿ, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ದಿ sex is determined by the sperms or the male, not by the female. Okay, so next parturition and lactation. So parturition or labor, it is a process of giving birth to young ones. It is induced by neuroendocrine mechanism. So how it is induced by, it is induced by neuroendocrine mechanism. The signals from the fetus and placenta induce the mild uterine contractions, fetal ejection reflex. So very very important. So the signal after the baby complete agi develop ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, the placenta ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ, it induces mild uterine contractions. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇಬಿನೂ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತೈತಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪ್ಲಾಸೆಂಟಾದಲ್ಲೂ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏನು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದು, ಈ ಥರ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಅದು ಇಂಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ, ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಫೀಟಲ್ ಇಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫೀಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಬೇಬಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಆಗೈತಿ, ನಾವು ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಒಂದು ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗ. ಸೊ ಫೀಟಲ್ ಇಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಕಾಸಸ್ ದ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಟೋಸಿನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ನಲ್ ಪಿಟ್ಯುಟರಿ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ನಲ್ ಪಿಟ್ಯುಟರಿಯಿಂದ ಆಕ್ಸಿಟೋಸಿನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಸಿಟೋಸಿನ್, it causes the stronger uterine muscle contraction, which in turn stimulates further secretion of oxygen. oxytocin. So oxytocin first uterine muscles contract ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಇದರಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಸಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಟೋಸಿನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೀಕ್ರಿಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಯುಟ್ರೈನ್ ಮಸಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಡ್ ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಲ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೇಬಿ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಯೂಟ್ರಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ದ birth canal. So as you know, to give birth it is not easy. Many muscle contraction will take place so that the baby should come out. Okay, so that is the reason oxytocin will help in the birth. Okay, so with expulsion of the baby out of the uterus through the birth canal. So after parturition the umbilical cord is cut off. Okay, so this we call it as parturition or labor. Okay, so then what happens after parturition? The umbilical cord, so which was connected to the baby and mother, it is cut off, and the placenta and remnants of umbilical cord are expelled from the maternal body after the parturition. So it is called as after birth. Okay, so what we call it as after birth? So the placenta ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನೇನು ರಿಮೆನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ ಅಂಬಲಿಕಲ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮದರ್ ಬಾಡಿಯಿಂದ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಬರ್ತ್. ಸೊ ದ ಮ್ಯಾಮರಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದಿ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರೆಗ್ನೆನ್ಸಿ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಅಂತೇವಿ? ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ದ ಯೆಲ್ಲೋಯಿಶ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಫ್ಯೂ ಡೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೇಷನ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ colostrum. So it contains several antibodies essential to develop resistance for the newborn babies. So that is the reason feeding baby mother milk to the baby is very important. Yakandre that will contain several number of antibodies and nutrients, okay, required for the baby to grow. So newborn yavatidrunu they are very sensitive. First time mother womb ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದು to develop or adapt to the external environment, it is very difficult for the newborn. So to adjust and to build the immunity, the mother milk at the beginning, which is called as colostrum, which is very having very essential nutrients and antibiotics. Okay, so antibodies it will have. Okay, so this is what I was trying to explain you. Okay, so XX is the 2n or the diploid cell. So it will not just have XX chromosomes, by the way. Okay, as I said, I will explain you once again that concept. 46 chromosomes will be there in everybody. Okay, so in that 44 chromosomes will be autosomes, we will call, which will determine our shape of the body, color of the body, our hair and everything. We call it as autosomal characters, which will be in the 44 chromosomes. That means, what do you 44 chromosomes meaning 22 pair, 22 into 2. So ist chromosomes 22 pairs enidavalla, so avu enirtav, they will have the autosomal characteristics. In one 23rd pair ಏನಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ 22 ಪೇರ್ ಇರ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ ಸೇಮ್, ಸೊ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಟರ್ಮೈನ್ ವಾಟ್? ಸೊ 22 pairs ಏನಿರ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಟರ್ಮೈನ್ ದಿ ಆಟೋಸೋಮಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ಅದರ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ವೇರ್ ದಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅನದರ್ ಪೇರ್, the other pair, one pair ಏನಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, that we call it as the sex chromosomes. Okay, so ಈ XX ಏನೈತಲ್ಲ ಇದು one pair, ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ 22 pair ಅಂದರೆ another 44 chromosomes will be there. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ 22 pair ಅವು ಬೇರೆ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಅದರ ಬಿಟ್ಟು XX chromosome, XY chromosomes ಇವು ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್. ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವೇನಂತೇವಿ? ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಅದಾವೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಈ 22 ಪೇರ್ನು ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು? ಹಾಫ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಹಾಫ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಓವಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಇದೇನು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು, ಸೊ ನಾವು ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ 22 chromosomes ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಪೇರ್ ಕೊಡೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. 22 ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ 23 ಆಯ್ತು. ಈ ಕಡೆನೂ 22 ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಏನಾಯ್ತು? 23 ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಇದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗಿವ್ 22. ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೈ. Okay, because male the sex chromosomes have a X and Y, female sex chromosomes X and X. Okay, so that is the reason ಈಗ ಮೇಲದ X ಐತಿ ಒಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಐತಿ, ಫಿಮೇಲದ್ದು Y ಐತಿ, ಬರೇ ನಾವೇನು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಓನ್ಲಿ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ X ಅದ X ಅದ. ಸೊ as you can see, if this X, it will give, and this X given by father, if they are both fuses, so this sperm and this ovum fuses, then girl baby is formed. Okay, and this X and this Y is fused, then the boy baby is formed. And same here, you can see, if this X and this X is formed, girl baby, again this X and this Y, boy baby. So like this, the sex of the girl, whether it is girl or a boy, it is determined by the male parent, because he is only having the deciding factor, which is Y. But here female, they both are having XX. So anything ಯಾವುದೇ ಓವಮ್ ಇರಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇರೋ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ ಯಾವುದು X ಟೈಪ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಬಟ್ ಮೇಲ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗನ ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ X or Y, that will decide whether it is girl or boy. So that is the reason male are the deciding factors. So that time in hurry burry without diagram I explained, so that time you might have not understood, but I hope here you understood the how the sex is determined by the male. Okay, so because they are having both X and Y, so apart from the sex chromosomes, other 44 chromosomes will also be there. Okay, 22 from the mother and 22 from the father, that will also be there. Okay, that will also be there in the sperm or egg. Okay, so I hope you understood the topic. This completes the human reproduction topic. Okay, so hope you understood the topic. Thank you so much, and we will probably start with the next concept in the next video. So thank you so much.